Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 143. This is Under Review. We're coming at you live with episode 191. Nick, how are we doing today?
Finally got an NFL episode after some football, so we're excited to be bringing that to you for the next long time, the next few months till February.
Yep.
It was a doozy for week one. Plenty of games, plenty of things to talk about.
Some actually really good games, believe it or not. I will say the NFL didn't disappoint. Could have all been bad games, honestly. We were just fiending for some football, so it's great to have it back. Let's go. Stat of the week brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. Pretty crazy Sunday night football game, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But the stat is, in the fourth quarter, Josh Allen threw for 251 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. That 251 passing yard in the fourth quarter alone, Mark, is more than 22 starting quarterbacks this week had in the whole game. So that fourth quarter alone, Josh Allen threw for more passing yards than 22 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy performance from Josh Allen. We'll get more into that game later, but crazy stat.
Yeah, pretty remarkable from him. He's obviously your player of the week. He threw for 394 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and then rushed for 30 yards and then ran in 2 touchdowns as well. Really stepped up, especially in the fourth quarter. You know, it looked like they were out of it there for a good bit. Their offense was just not clicking for a good bit of the second half, and then they came out. And, hey, when it mattered most, they put some drives together. And then 50-year-old Matt Prater, just kidding, he's like 41 actually, but he looks very old. He still got it. Put the game on his leg, and he ends up kicking it to win it. So Bill's got a huge Sunday night football win, but still early in the season, so there's a lot of games left to be played.
Wondering where Josh Allen's MVP-ness went, and it came in the fourth quarter. It showed out, and Bills get a big win. All right, kick it off. First game of the season, Cowboys-Eagles. We as Cowboys fans came in looking like we're going to lose by 50. We had no confidence in our team whatsoever. It was a tale of two halves, really. No defense at all in the first half, but all offense, and then no offense in the second half and all defense. I think, there's not much to say on the Eagles because, whatever, but the Cowboys, I think, impressed me and Nick as, the offense played a lot better than we thought they would, and the defense played a ton better than we thought they would when it came to the second half.
I mean, was fully prepared for them to go 3-and-out on the opening drive to start the season, and they march down the field and score on the opening drive via a Javonte Williams rushing touchdown, who I might add looked pretty good.
Cowboys have a rushing attack now?
In that running back role. I think we kind of forget, or I was, overlooking him a little bit. He was pretty highly sought after coming out of college, but just struggled a little bit with injuries, and then was on the Broncos, so just wasn't really, the best situation to be in. But he's still a young back, and offensive line looked good blocking up front for him and Dak. And from what I saw, I was okay with him taking the majority of the workload as the running back.
Yeah, I agree.
Just from what I saw alone.
I think, the story of this game was basically we should have won it. There were a few very key mistakes that happened late in the game. Miles Sanders fumble in the red zone. You cannot fumble the ball in the red zone or fumble at all. But CeeDee's drops were very bad. I think he had 3 of them when we needed him to catch the ball for sure. And, CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb, so he had some mistakes. He owned up to it. 8 hours after they landed back in Dallas, he was on the judge machine. I'm not that worried about CeeDee Lamb, so I think the positive is, there's no such thing as a moral loss, kind of like what Shoddy said after the game, but I took a lot of positive away from that game, even though we came out with the L.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a loss is a loss, You're still
Mhm.
0-1, but
Yep.
learned a lot about ourselves. Hopefully,
Looked
whatever
a lot better than we thought we
Matt
would.
Eberflus figured out and did in the second half, hopefully that was, something permanent, and they found themselves out something on defense that might work. Um,
And
what they'll talk about a lot of times is you got to win the turnover battle, and we did
yeah, we
not.
lost it.
We lost it 0-1 with a Miles Sanders fumble at one of the worst possible times. But I think
Dak
we
looked really
will bounce
good.
back. Yes,
We've been
I
very
would
critical
agree.
of Dak on this show, and he came out and he looked really good game one. You know, not just CD, he put a lot of balls right in the hands of his
Right on the
receivers,
money.
and they would
Yeah.
drop them. Tight ends especially. So like, yeah, the offense needs to work on catching. Dak needs to just keep putting it right where he was putting it. He looked great. One last thing on the Eagles game, Eagles Cowboys. Second half, our defense shut the run down and forced Jalen Hurts to throw, and lo and behold, Philly couldn't score. So that's what we've been saying the whole time. If you make Jalen Hurts throw, you have a real shot to win the game because he stinks when the run game isn't working. He's just a system quarterback. So, if even that. So, yeah, anyways, that's just some key things to take away, move on. So, in Brazil.
Sao Paulo,
Yeah.
that next Friday night, the Chiefs-Chargers kicked it off. Justin Herbert looked
He's that guy.
extremely good.
He did.
People have
A lot
been
of speculation as to why.
for a while. Yes, there is.
There are.
People have been saying for a while, he's got the talent. It's just he's got to go out on the field and perform, and that is exactly what he did. Yep. Comes in, and one thing we've always been critical of for him on this show is not being able to finish games very well, and he goes out and is able to kill the end of the game. He closed it out with that. I mean, everyone, I'm sure you saw that slide where he looked like he glided for about 15 yards or so, and everyone's feeling amped up. Yeah, Ladd McConkey's looking good in that sophomore season. He
and the
tore it
Chargers
up last year.
defense looks good too. Yeah, I think the Chargers look great as a team overall. Chiefs finally have some real competition this year, I would say, for the division. Obviously, not much to say on the Chiefs. Like they're gonna be okay in terms of getting wins, but
lost Xavier Worthy at the beginning, which stinks because you don't have Rashee Rice, and now you don't have Xavier Worthy. Yep. So those are two pretty crucial weapons that you're going to have to be playing without. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, though. He's going to figure out ways to win games, laying it all out on the line for the team. He's kind of proven that he can throw to really anybody, but it's just you want to have that true wide receiver one. But like I said, Chiefs are Chiefs. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, any kind of negativity towards the Chiefs right now would just be a week one overreaction. So, they're going to figure it out. They play their best ball in like December and January anyway. So, just a quick snippet from Dolphins Colts. I know a lot of people are overreacting to Danny Dimes and the Colts winning this. This is all Dolphins. The Dolphins look horrendous. They have a dumpster fire going on in Miami, and I don't think Mike McDaniels, I don't know if he lasts through the season if they keep playing like this. The Dolphins a few years ago were supposed to be really good with the same team, and now they're awful. So
they were supposed to have been competing for the division this entire time, and it's just been Bills. A lot of speculation on Mike McDaniels, if he has it or not. Tyreek Hill just isn't looking quite the same. Tua's not looking quite as good as he's supposed to be, or what everyone works him up to be. Colts go out. Tyler Warren, rookie tight end, has himself a nice little game. Michael Pittman looking like Michael Pittman. Same thing.
Daniel Jones had a good game too. Yeah, Daniel Jones had a great game.
Could this be the Daniel Jones revenge tour?
You never know.
We'll check back up on this one next week, but he's a Giant, so don't have the highest regard for him. But
no.
It is cool to see somebody go from a garbage franchise with zero hope to go somewhere else and find a little bit of success. We're
sometimes that's what it is.
we're not going to see
sometimes that's
him
what it is.
unless they go to the Super Bowl, but we're not going to the Super
And
Bowl
we go to
either,
Super
so
Bowls.
it doesn't matter.
And neither are
But,
they. So yeah,
Colts offense putting out 33 points. Looking
Impressive.
pretty nasty.
go over to New York. A game that nobody thought would be high scoring, 34-32. Steelers take the win over the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, I want to say 4 touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns. Yep, 4 passing touchdowns. Justin Fields looked decent. I don't know if this was the teams like just 1 week, but Steelers and Jets don't look as bad as we thought they were going to look. And the Steelers offense was clicking on all cylinders. So
They were
a lot of
looking pretty
overreaction there.
nasty.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's one thing we talked about in the offseason was that, we talked about how the Steelers defense was going to show up and win you games. They weren't very
Really there. Yeah, they didn't show up.
Jalen Ramsey with a huge blow on at the end of the game to on 4th down to break up a pass to really seal the deal. But, like I was saying, we talked about how the Steelers are going to win you games defensively. Their defense didn't show up, but their offense did. And so that's really what matters. And, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, he's going to open his mouth and say something because that's just who he is as a player, as a person. He was talking about how it felt good to go to New York and beat the guys that told him that, I guess, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of it felt good to beat the guys in New York who didn't like him, didn't have a lot of faith in him. Said he
and the guys in New York were the ones that took the chance on him in the first place after he left.
And they let him have whoever he wanted. They gave him. They said, "Hey, bring. You can tell us what players you want to get, and we'll go out and get them." They brought in the coaches that he wanted, so he's acting like New York hated him, dude. They catered to your every single little need. Okay,
and he didn't do anything for
it. Didn't work out because the Jets stink and they've been awful forever. But
and letting Aaron Rodgers run your franchise didn't even work for Green Bay. When he started taking control, they didn't do anything. He just won MVP. So, individual award. But exciting game. We'll see what both teams do down the road. Atlanta versus Tampa, always a fun divisional matchup to watch. Ime Udoka, the rookie wide receiver from Ohio State, really showed out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of high praise from his quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans praised him a lot. So it looks like they got an absolute stud out of that guy. Kind of the story of this game was Younghoe Koo for the kicking. Missed field goal there at the end to tie the game. I think it was like a 44-yarder. Not a hard kick, indoor. And, they went on to lose the game because of that. So it kind of seemed like Atlanta had the game all the way through to the fourth quarter when the Bucs really turned it on. And, so those are one of those back and forth.
Those games are always good, the NFC South matchups. But one thing you look at, too, for the Younghoe Koo deal is Chase McLaughlin missed an extra point, and so it was 24 to could have been 24-20 where you're not really in a position, but it was kind of funny because Koo kicks a field goal right before they call timeout to ice him, and I think he hooks it left, and then on the actual kick he hooks it right the other way, and just unfortunate to see from him. Yeah. They have a lot of faith in him because he's had some clutch kicks, but he has also been put in the spotlight and botched it before. So could this be the end of a run? I mean, we don't know. That's a huge loss too, because that's a divisional game. But we'll look to that in the future. Baker Mayfield getting himself started. We talk pretty highly of Baker Mayfield here on this show. Got himself another weapon. That kid from Ohio State looks pretty good. I mean, Baker only threw for 167 yards, but he also threw 3 TDs, so that's something you got to take into account.
The Falcons look great, too. Penix looks good. Bijan Robinson looks good. A lot of positive to take away. Defense looks good. If you're a Falcons fan and a Bucs fan, I mean, it's going to be a tight race, clearly, for the division between those two teams because the other two teams don't look very good right now. But
those two franchises have stepped it up significantly over the last couple of years. The NFC South has been kind of the dumpster of the NFC. Just not a lot of good teams, not a lot of good plays coming on out of there. But, Bucks, Falcons really stepped it up, and two competitive teams. We'll see how the rest of the season pans out. But, they looked pretty good in week one.
Seahawks, 49ers, another divisional game. A lot of divisional games week one. I don't think we're used to seeing all of those happen in week one. But another kicker that didn't perform very well, Moody. He actually got cut following the following day or so from the 49ers because he was not looking great. Missed 2 field goals, one of them being blocked. But the 49ers came away with the win. Unfortunately, Kittle and Purdy are injured now. Purdy might not play week 2. I think Kittle's definitely missing a couple weeks, as well as you've got, injury-prone Christian McCaffrey on your team. Then the 49ers
Jawan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk as well.
Ricky Pearsall is going to have to carry this team.
They are on thin. They're looking pretty thin on the offensive side of the ball, unfortunately.
Sam Darnold had 150 passing yards and 124 of them were Jackson Smith-Njigba. That kid is a dog. That is one positive that Seattle can take away here is Jackson Smith-Njigba is a real deal. Ohio State just cranking out these wide receiver ones.
Losing DK Metcalf in the offseason, puts a lot of pressure on him because he looked very, very good.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season last year, kind of stepped up as a rising star and then comes out week one and you're getting the workload, like it is all yours. And he, showed up. Obviously, unfortunately, was not enough to win a game. But if he goes out and gets 120-plus receiving yards, I don't think you can ask a whole lot more from a receiver.
No, you cannot. Green Bay versus Detroit, kind of a highly anticipated matchup because of the Micah Parsons trade in Green Bay. Green Bay looked great offensively and defensively, and Detroit looked really bad on both sides of the ball. You can really tell that they're missing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, their former offensive and defensive coordinator for Detroit. Not saying that they won't figure it out. It's only week one, but people are now saying Green Bay will win the division and go to the Super Bowl. Micah had your classic garbage time, 4 minutes left in the game. Game's already been decided. Chase down sack, obviously celebrated a lot like he just won the Super Bowl for the Packers. I don't know. I'm a Cowboys fan. Don't really miss him. Don't really miss his antics on the field and off the field at this point. But he sure has said a lot.
We just say that because we've seen it before.
Yeah, same story.
It's not like that came in a big moment on a big third down stop or a fourth down stop. It was like 2nd and 10 or whatever. 4 minutes left in the game.
Game over. Yeah.
Game was already decided. He could throw a 60-yard missile.
He chased down Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So fast.
But thinking about it as a Cowboys fan, the way I'm looking at it is no one's really saying if we have Micah Parsons, we win that game against Philly. It's more so if CeeDee Lamb can catch, if Miles Sanders has better ball security, we're probably winning that game. But that's just the way I'm able to sleep at night.
Micah just keeps talking about the Cowboys, and you can clearly tell he's not. He's missing. He's missing playing for the boys and wearing that star on his helmet.
Dumb when he opened his mouth and he said, he said something along the lines of feeling mistreated because he got traded a week before the regular season.
You asked?
He didn't request for a trade. I'm confused here. You're
Jared
the one
gave you what you wanted.
You made it clear that you wanted to leave. So what did we do? We got rid of you. I don't understand what the problem is.
I agree with Jerry wholeheartedly in this decision, and I do not say that very often. So moving on, game of the weekend. Ravens-Bills. We've already kind of talked about it. This, is partly because Josh Allen's awesome, but really partly because the Ravens decided to take their foot off the gas, which we don't normally see them do late in the fourth quarter. And then Derrick Henry had himself a career night up until his costly fumble with 3 minutes left in the game on the Ravens' own 30-yard line. So kind of gave the ball to the Bills, really sparked that win. But but great game. And like Nick said, Matt Prater ending it just a few days after getting to Buffalo. Crazy game.
I mean, just thinking about, hey, what are we doing differently for the Ravens? I mean, Derrick Henry was the best player on the field. Nobody is not putting the ball in his hands in that situation. Mm-hmm. That's just a fluke deal that happens that you're going to have to live with.
I would say it's like
everybody else in that situation is giving it to Derrick Henry. I mean, he was on pace to run for like 200 yards that night, and he had 2 touchdowns. He was very obviously the best player on the field.
I'm sure it will not.
Anybody else is handing it off. Yes, absolutely. That's just a early season hiccup. I mean, we saw it was flipped last year when. They played early on in the regular season. It was like week 6 or something like that. I don't know. It was one of the first few games, and Bills looked absolutely terrible. And then they play again in the playoffs, and the Bills win. So, there's a lot of things to say, but I mean, it's the first week. You know where you're great. You know where you're not. Let's just move on.
In terms of those two teams, they don't really care about week 1. They both have a lot to prove in the postseason. So that's really where it's going to come down to, can you get it done or not? Obviously, week 1, you want to get the win, but a lot of positives, a lot of things to work on for both teams.
They've been proven regular season juggernauts for the last couple of years, but now it's time to go and do something in January, February. We've seen it before from both of these teams. We've said it before that Josh Allen and the Bills, they've got to be able to do something in the postseason. Same thing with Lamar and the Ravens, unfortunately. But, as cool as that game was, let's see where we're sitting in January and February.
Agreed. Monday Night Football, kind of the, interesting divisional matchup between the Vikings and the Bears. Ben Johnson's debut with the Chicago Bears and J.J. McCarthy's debut with the Minnesota Vikings. Pretty much all game up to the fourth quarter, it was looking like Bears were just going to run away with this game. J.J. McCarthy looked awful. And, the Bears offense was playing pretty good. J.J. McCarthy just flips a switch in the fourth quarter and throws 2 touchdowns, runs for a touchdown, leads Minnesota to the win. Part of that's because Chicago just started stinking on offense, but part of that's because, I don't know what he did, but he just figured out how to throw the ball mid-game and kind of make the right decisions, and he ended up winning the game for him.
I mean, after the first drive or so, really after the first quarter, the Chicago Bears offense just came to a screeching halt.
Yep.
They, marched down the field and scored at the beginning of the game, and then they just looked terrible for the rest of the game until right at the very end. But unfortunately, it was too little too late. They get a defensive score. Nashawn Wright, it's an ex-Dallas Cowboy for you, gets himself a pick 6 to it looked like at that point that maybe Chicago might have, like they were on track to maybe run away with the game, light the fire back underneath the offense maybe, but, they just could not seal the deal and finish the game. And J.J. McCarthy comes out and has the fourth quarter of his life. Throws for 2 passing touchdowns right at the very end, runs one in. I mean, when they needed him the most, he was there. He looked horrendous for 70% of the game. But then for whatever reason, he was able to lock in. And they invested a lot of faith and a lot of stock in J.J. McCarthy. He was supposed to be the guy, and he was getting ripped pretty bad for the entire night. The Vikings were getting ripped pretty bad the entire night for letting Sam Darnold go and putting faith in J.J. McCarthy. But when it came down to it, he went down and got him some scores and won him the games. You can't hate on him that much.
The keyboard warriors need to probably chill till the end of the game because it happens Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. They're just blasting these teams, and then they come out and win the game, and it's like, the game's not over till, the buzzer goes off at the end. You can't be tweeting in the third quarter that, this guy, you look really dumb at the end of the game when they win. You just look really dumb. Kind
of like what Josh Allen said at the end of the Sunday night game, where they had fans leaving the stadium in the middle of the fourth quarter. I mean, it looked like the Bills were out of it, but lo and behold, they get a huge fumble on defense or get a defensive force a defensive turnover, and then boom, they're back in this game.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think he said something of like, we would appreciate a little bit more patience or something like that, or have whatever. But I mean, absolutely right. Game's not over till it's over. Sunday night and Monday night.
You just look really dumb after the game, and that's out there. It's like, oh, you said that and you were completely wrong. But, that's just some advice, unsolicited advice.
Unsolicited advice. But anyways, here's like end our shows and under review, brought to you a quote. So for the last 100 and however many episodes, we have brought to you quotes from players, coaches,
important
sports people. Figures in general.
Wise
this one comes to you from, he may or may not be a wise man, but he had one zinger for us.
Great quote.
This guy's name is Dan, and he is on Twitter as @VikesFan2777, and he gave us this gem a couple of days ago. Jalen Hurts is what Justin Fields looks like with a super team.
Ain't that the truth?
Agree or disagree, but you can have your own opinion. I am inclined to side with Dan @VikesFan2777. Really appreciate you throwing that little nugget in there for us to hang on to. But there we go. That's your first non-athlete quote of Under Review history.
Thank you, Dan, and thank y'all for listening. We will see you next week with another episode of Under Review.